get you to take care of this without them knowing about it. So, Ms. Kim.
Just keep in mind that once the money's wired out, they cannot get the money back.
So, oh, you have the microphone. Good for that. Ms. Kim worked for the bank for a long time, was like management and all the things, so.
Now, just keep in mind that once the money's wired out, you're not gonna get your money back. And, I mean, this stuff, your bank is very aware of these things, they deal with it every day. And so, your best bet is, in my experience, is you tell a family member what's going on. Don't keep it to yourself. And, you know, if you feel like you can't go to that office, every one of you here has a banker that they use every time they go in the bank. If you feel like your gut's telling you, no, I don't need to go to them, I need to go to a different branch that I've never used before, because they might talk, you know, they might think bad about me, follow your gut, go to your banker you always go to, and, you know, and then make sure you tell another family member. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, you don't need to do this, trust them, you know, and go with that gut instinct. Think twice before you wire money, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Thank you. Okay, so back to the credit card identity theft. Secure your credit cards in your purse or wallet. Don't leave your purse open on your shoulder. Miss Harriet was telling me a story earlier about how she wailed somebody with a pen back in the late 80s, early 90s time frame that tried to snatch her purse. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that right now. It's not worth, you know, probably an outcome of what it might be if somebody's trying to take your purse now. But one thing about that, and I can remember growing up, when I'd go to the grocery store with my nanny, she always would like buckle her purse in the buggy, you know, in the shopping cart, buckle her purse in there, because that's gonna be one more thing that's gonna slow down that person that's trying to take your stuff, okay, so. Well, they might do that, but, so, never give your personal information unless you're 100% sure that it's legitimate. I personally would not, you know, there's one thing, typically like prescription refills, you know, you have to put in your date of birth or, you know, whatever the case is, but typically they don't ask you for your full social or anything like that, so just be mindful of that. Social security numbers, driver's license, banking information, credit card information, your mother's maiden name. A lot of times for, you know, you have your security questions or security or the password, to change your password, you know, what's your mother's maiden name? You know, what's the street you grew up on, all those things. Those silly little games that you see on Facebook and things like that, that's like, hey, fill this stuff out. We want to get to know a little bit more about you. What was your mother's maiden name? Where did you grow up at? You're just basically giving anyone and everyone information to you that could potentially be used to steal your identity. So don't put that stuff on Facebook. Don't post those things. So, check your credit report and your bank statements regularly. If you have online banking on your phone, you can check that. You can log in that daily. Log into it daily. Look at it, make sure everything's good. And there's no crazy things that, you know, sometimes they may have your information and they may be like $1 because you may not notice it was $1 transaction. Well, they're just wanting to make sure that that account's good that they can get to, okay? All right, the love scam. This lady came in, and I took her report. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her. So she came in, her husband passed away, not even 3 years ago. She came in, and we were talking, and she told me, she said, you know, he told me that if I lived, you know, not necessarily frugally, but managed my money, that there would be enough left for me until I passed away. You know, their house was paid for, she was retired, you know, everything was fine. Well, she actually was a victim of a love scam that a man started messaging her on Facebook. And this all happened within like a month and a half from the time that he reached out to her. And like I said earlier, you know, we do want to feel like we're appreciated and we want somebody to talk to us and things like that. So, one thing, and I was talking to Ms. Belisa earlier, is maybe when we break out at the tables, myself and maybe some of the other ladies, we can go around and check your privacy settings on your Facebook. I have some papers here that kind of show us how to go through like your menu, and it's not super complicated. If you have the Facebook app on your phone, that's something that I can help you with, just to make sure that your privacy settings are up to speed and they don't have, all of your information is not set to public, okay? So that's something that I do want to take the time. If you're willing to let me help you do that, I'm here and I want to do that for you, okay? So I'm gonna read this report that I wrote for her, and like Ms. Kim was saying, once that money's gone, chances are it's, you know, we can't get it back. So in December, Ms. Jane Doe came to the Coleman Police Department to file a report of fraud. Ms. Doe met the suspect online through Facebook. Their relationship began to flourish with calls and messages. The suspect's name provided was Mark Smith. Smith gave details to Ms. Doe about his life that made him seem genuine and caring. Details such as his daughter's name, where he was from, and where he lives. Smith built trust with Ms. Doe and preyed on her vulnerability through the death of her husband. Smith made Ms. Doe feel cared for and loved. He manipulated Ms. Doe and scammed her into sending him gift cards through Facebook Messenger and Transcript, which was an app that he wanted her to download so they could communicate through. So if someone's trying to get you to download an app like Transcript or WhatsApp so you can message through that, that's another flag to look for. And cash through stuffed animals totaling over $34,000. Y'all, that was everything she had. Everything she had. Smith and his associates told Ms. Doe there was a box with $1 million inside that would be shipped to her, but $25,000 was required before they could ship it because the money was held up in customs. And then when it cleared, I'm sorry. Okay, the original requested amount was $50,000 that they wanted her to pay, but they would allow her to pay the remaining amount from the $1 million that would be delivered to her home. So they were going to send $1 million to her house, and when it got delivered on the front porch, she could take out the other $25,000 and give it to them so she could keep that money. Whenever she came to the department that morning and I met with her, she had already been to her bank and they had denied her. Like, she had actively went and tried to get a loan to send that money. She shipped off 2 stuffed animals at different times filled with cash, and the address was in Texas that they gave her to send it to. All gift cards purchased were Apple gift cards and purchased from Dollar General and local drugstores. And I'm gonna say this real quick. So at Christmas time, I was at Publix and I was purchasing a couple of gift cards for family members for Christmas presents. And the cashier was like, "What are you doing with these gift cards?" Well, y'all, look, I'm not saying, but I don't think, and I'm not saying that I couldn't get fraud, like somebody could take advantage of me by any means. But I'm like, are you seriously asking me right now if I'm gonna get scammed sending these gift cards? You know? But then I thought, and I was like, you know what? I appreciate, and I told him that. I said, I appreciate you asking me that because there's someone that's gonna come through your line that's gonna need to be asked that, for sure. So he was asking, it wasn't just me, he asked everyone, because if you can ask me with this face, he's probably gonna ask anybody, right? So, anyway, so I just wanted to say that, but I know the drugstore, like Walgreens, CVS, I think you can only purchase so much money's worth of gift cards per day. All right, Dollar General, not so much. So keep that in mind. If they're asking for gift cards, we're not gonna send gift cards, right? And that could just be sending them the code off not necessarily physically mailing that to them. All right, so I told her the chance of us finding him would highly be unlikely due to all the information that he provided to her was fake and part of a scam. I provided her with a case card and explained the process if she wished to obtain a copy, and also suggested that she block him. Even when she left, I still feel like there was part of her that still wanted to have that communication with him, So, like I said, be mindful of that. People are out here, we like to think that there's a lot, and there's a lot of good people in the world, and a lot of people that do mean, to do good things for us and things, but, there's also a lot of people out there that want to take advantage of us, especially when we're at our highest vulnerability. So, are there any questions so far? Yes, ma'am. Well, here's the thing with that. Anybody can get into a dating site. You can fake their information, and doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually genuinely there trying to find somebody. Really, I think if it's, and that's, it kept, like with her, he was supposed to come visit her, come see her, come visit her, and that, obviously was never gonna happen because he was nowhere near. So I think that goes, maybe within your church, maybe at your, local community centers that you may go to. That's probably a better and a safer bet to meet people because you're physically there versus online, or someone that tries to reach out to you and says, oh, hey, yeah, we went to school together back, at such and such. Do you remember me? And that's not that person. And then they're wanting you to send them some money or whatever the case may be because, hey, I've really fallen on hard times. You could really help an old friend out, right? So just keep that in the back of your mind. Don't send it. Yes, ma'am. Don't. Yep. Just. There you go. There you go. So, all right. So the handouts that you have in your on your clipboard. So the first thing, let's go ahead and talk about how to avoid a scam. And there's just some, and you can put this on your refrigerator. You can put this wherever you're going to see this, that it can remind you daily if someone contacts you what they're going to be. And they're going to be they're going to try to rush you, try to get your card information or more information about you before you can really even stop and think and process, like, hey, this person's trying to take advantage of me. They're trying to get something from me, okay? So down at the bottom, there's a space, and you can put both of these phone numbers down there. That's completely fine. And it says contact information for people I trust. So the Coleman County, when y'all are ready, down at the bottom on the how to avoid a scam in the red in the block. Okay, so Coleman County Sheriff's Department, and these are non-emergency numbers. Now, obviously, if you have an emergency and it's life or death, then you need to call 911, okay? And this is an emergency as well, but not to be called 911, okay? So these are non-emergency numbers. So the Coleman County Sheriff is 256-734-0210. 256-734-0210. This is Coleman County Sheriff's Department. All right, and then the Coleman City Police Department is 256-734-1434. 256-734-1434. Yes, ma'am, that was the city. 734-1434 is Coleman City. Does anyone need those numbers again? Okay, the numbers, I'm gonna just give you the whole thing again. The Coleman County Sheriff is 734-0210. 734-0210. Yes, ma'am. And the city is 734-1434. And I'll be around for a while, so if there's, if you need those, just call me. All right, and then on the back of this paper, it has where you can put the contact information for companies that you do business with. So you can put your bank on there, their phone number, their address, the name, not the address, but the website, just to make sure that it's a legitimate website. So like you were talking about earlier, if you get an email address from Medicare or something like that, hey, I know this is the website it should be coming from, or the email address it should be coming from, okay? So that gives you something that you can reference quickly to confirm that it's legit or it's potentially scam or fraud, okay? And then down at the bottom, like we talked about before, where you can report scams, you can go to the reportfraud.ftc.gov. So, part of me is like, the Dave Ramsey side of me is like, you shouldn't have the credit cards, but also as far as using a credit card for this, it does make sense because it's not tied to your banking account where you have all your monies. Ms. Kim's got something else for us.
I would recommend that I'm with Ashley and Dave Ramsey, but as far as like your debit card, you could use that like at your grocery store and places like that. If you're buying gas or buying purchases, you have more ability to have chargeback rights, meaning you're more apt to get your money back through like a Visa, a MasterCard, American Express, that type thing, than you would at a bank. You have, on debit card transactions, you have
On a debit card, you have limited days that you can go back on that charge, which is why you should look at your bank account every day, just to make sure there's not a fraudulent charge. But like me, what I do is, I do all my big purchases, my groceries and things like that, all on a credit card paid off at the end of the month. It helps you far as taxes at the end of the year, you can look what you spent your money on, but like say I bought something with my credit card and I wanted to return it, or they charged me, say it was a $20 purchase and the bill comes in and they got $200 on there. You've got more of an ability to get your money back on a credit card than you do with a bank debit card. So, I mean, I would say, but I would say every day or every other day, look at your bank and make sure that something hasn't come out that's not supposed to be, because you only have limited days that you can go back on that. So just you always, and plus, the more you log in, the less times they're gonna make you change your passcode. That's just a secret.
Oh, I did not know that.
You had two different, and you hadn't been ordering anything? Okay, so what she was asking is, she had a couple transactions that were shown from Amazon on her account. She changed her debit card, she had a debit card, changed her PIN number, all that kind of stuff. One thing I will say is, there's a thing called the black web. There's probably a lot of you ladies that have heard of that before. People can actually buy and purchase your information, your card numbers, your passwords by bulk, like cents, pennies to thousands of passwords and PIN numbers and credit card numbers. That's why a lot of times you may get something in the mail that says, "Hey, we've recently been hacked. We've recently this has been hacked, and your information may have been compromised. They may have your information." So one thing that I do recommend is getting a credit monitoring service A lot of times you can get one, I don't know if it's every 30 days, typically I think 3 months, or they might give you one like one a year, but you could definitely get one that you can go online, log in, and see if there's any new, and I get an email. I'll get an email from my, I think it's Experian. I get an email and it says, hey, there's a new credit alert. You know, and it lets me know if something has, if there's been some sort of transaction, if someone's applied for something using my social security number, or any of those things. So that's definitely something to look into to get that credit monitoring, system. So, yes ma'am.
Back in 2018, I purchased 3 cruise tickets and paid for it. And then COVID, the cruise was canceled. Well, and nobody ever said anything back to me, we were gonna wait and wait to get it. And then, all of a sudden, last year, finally got information on an email saying they owe the money in immigration facilities to the bank. And the bank says, no, this sounds like a scam. And I said, okay, I didn't know that was because of the money. Switch everything over, new account, let that open $100. Sent them that information, and they said, no. So it was not, it was fishy like that.
Yes, so Miss Nick, she's going to the bank for everything. You're not gonna get anything past
I
her.
go to the bank, Social Security, I'll go wherever, which part, I call police part. I went when I got it, these guys said, it's in my truck, I got it. They said I have a warrant for my arrest for running out of DOT check. And this is, and it's been years since I've been driving, I said, okay, I call police part, no, there's no.
All right, so when in doubt, contact your bank. Go to your bank. Yes, ma'am. I use Amazon a lot because it's super convenient. You know what you could do is, do you use PayPal or any of that stuff? Okay. So I was gonna say you could use that instead of having your card linked to your Amazon account. That way you have to sign in separately to your PayPal account, or, what's some other, like, Venmo and PayPal is basically the same thing. Yeah. I mean, that could be smart. I mean, that's gonna, you know, a little bit more that you're gonna have to do. It kind of cuts out that convenience of Amazon. But if you have it and you're in town and, you know, purchase one of those, you could, by all means, do that. So, yes, ma'am. So that's not, I mean, back to what Ms. Kim was saying, I mean, you're gonna have a better opportunity to, get that money back, to your account, or back to, you know, to your card, to your statement, versus your bank account and using debit, back to, yes ma'am, so, that's better than them having your card information, because, you know, and there again, we've talked about that, not everyone's honest, you know, it's just, it is what it is, and, okay.
All my TV, internet service, everything. And I can call in, if there's something going on, they'll check on me, if it is, they'll stop it, and if they take money out of my account, they can do that.
So what she's talking about is like Norton or some other type of program that monitors and makes sure like no one's hacking into your stuff. You don't get any viruses on your computer, on your TV. A lot of people now, your TV's connected to the internet if you have internet. So that keeps it a little bit more safer so people can't hack into it. It gives you that secure network.
So, Ashley, do you got a page of stuff that you need to go over with before we?
Yes, briefly.
Okay, so guys, let's kind of hold our questions for just a moment and let her teach this, and then she's going to be available for you all after this, that we can talk to her personally. That way she can cover everything with you. Can y'all help me with that? Yeah.
So back to the other pages on your clipboard. We kind of talked about a couple things that are on there, but real quick we'll talk about, and back to like payment methods, secure payment methods. Now, most everybody on their like debit card or credit card has that little chip on there. Well, that is like an encrypted token. So if you do like tap to pay, now you don't have to put your PIN number in. You typically don't have to put your zip code in. Whenever I pay at the pump with my gas, if I do the tap, or even before, like I'll bypass everything that I can as far as like putting my PIN number in, putting in my zip code, any of those things. Because your zip code's tied to your card a lot of times too, like you have to put your zip code in, So be mindful of that. Credit cards, and it does say that, but back to, cash is king, and don't use your credit card because, it's a spiral. But for safety measures, credit cards over debit cards. Credit cards offer a stronger fraud protection and don't pull directly from your bank account, okay? And then back to talking about monitoring your accounts regularly, set up alerts for every transaction. I know just check your bank account, because like I said, it could be a small amount, and then that's just seeing if they can get into your account, okay? And then review your statements. How many of you still get paper statements? Does anybody still do like paper statements in the mail? So just look over your paper statements. All those things you can, and a lot of times this might be something you want to look into to save you a couple dollars, but a lot of times your bank will give you like $5, like they won't charge you, because a lot of banks now charge for sending you those paper statements. So if you go to paperless statements, then you don't get charged that money anymore. So that's something you talk to your bank about if you want to do that. If your card's been compromised, if someone's gotten your information, you don't need to wait. You need to go to the bank immediately, okay? Don't just, I'm just gonna cancel that account and cancel my Amazon account or whatever, because now they have your banking information, your card information. So you need to go and get that card canceled, anything that you have it tied to. Make sure if you have automatic drafts for your utility bill or whatever the case is, that you update that card as well, because you don't want to, get your power cut off because, oops, I forgot to update my debit card in the system. So back to, and you can put, like I said, with the other paper, you can put this on your fridge as well. Common signs of text scam, like I said, they're going to be urgent. They're going to be trying to rush you. They want you to give them the information as soon as possible, like while you're on the phone. They don't want to get off the phone with you until you give them that credit card number or any information about you that they could potentially use to hack into your accounts. Unfamiliar numbers or spoofed IDs. A lot of times your phone now, it's smarter, so it'll tell you like, hey, this is a potential spam, You can also, set your phone up to, if there's any numbers that are not saved in your phone, you can send that to where it will actually go straight to your voicemail, and you can decide if you want to answer that or not as to what they're saying to you when they leave a message. It'll say, hey, you're receiving a call and this is what they're wanting, and it'll be like a brief message. Well, if it's a recording, then chances are it's probably no good. And then links to unfamiliar websites. We talked about that a little bit before, like Amazon, with them having a 0 instead of an O, using different things like that to make it look legit, but not. You would be surprised that even people that are in more, just put it this way, someone that's in a higher position that manages money and even okay? So it can happen to anybody. Request for personal and financial information. Legitimate companies won't ask you for your passwords, banking info, or social security numbers over text messages. And then my favorite is too good to be true offers. Implement $500 gift card without entering the contest. I don't know if, okay, so, one other thing, I don't think I talked about that one. We talked about the lottery thing, but Publishers Clearinghouse, I can remember I think it was Ed McMahon, is that who it was? Years ago, see it on TV, oh, you just won, and they show up at your front door with a big check. Well, yes, that actually is a legitimate thing, however, you still have to apply, to win that, so, anyway. Did you ever apply for it? Yes. Well, that was one step closer, right? Back to the package delivery scams, fake UPS, FedEx tracking slips. I'll make sure you got bank account alerts, claiming your account is locked or compromised. My mom sends me text messages of screenshots all the time of an email that she received. Is this a scam? Yes, it's a scam. Do not click anything, just delete it, So it's better to ask someone, send it to someone. Also, the lady that I read, that sent money and stuffed animals and the gift cards and all that stuff, her daughter was like, Mom, stop talking to him. That's a scam. They're just trying to get your money, So sometimes, like I said, sometimes we get in our emotions and that's not what we want to hear. But the reality is, you just think about it for a second. If it's something that sounds too good to be true, then it probably is, okay? Yes, ma'am. You still have to pay for your food, so there's kind of a line. Yeah, you can go with them. A lot of them have it in where they have the drink area or close by, a counter. So you can all means by do that. Also think about it. When you go through a drive-through, fast food or something, and you give them your card. A lot of times, they might put the reader out and you can tap it or insert it there sometimes, but you don't know, and they might be taking a picture of your card, so just kind of have to use some judgment with that. Job or work from home offers, prize lottery scams, governmental impersonation. There was one that I did not read. I want to read this one. It's super quick and then I'll be finished. Alright, I know I only have an hour, so it's past time. I'm sorry. She's gonna get me. She's gonna get me. I am scared. I'm scared of this place, okay? So, okay, here we go. So, the backstory, there were 3 sisters that came in regarding financial exploitation of their mom. Someone's trying to take advantage of her. Anyway, long story short, she had some mental health issues. She believed that she was sending money to George Strait and Elon Musk. They had reached out to her and they needed her help, okay? So, if there's somebody on Facebook that contacts you and his name, he's Colonel Johnson and he's a war hero and all this stuff, that's a scam. They're trying to get you. The sisters reported that their mother had a history of mental illness and had attempted suicide previously. But on the same token, they thought that, hey, if we confront her about this and try to tell her, hey, that she might try to hurt herself again. Of course, we told her, hey, you need to make sure that you call 911 if that's the case, take her to the hospital, get the help that she needs there. But she ended up giving them $1,800 is what she had sent so far. So sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, that if we've been taken advantage of, and we're strong, we don't want, you're sure, one strong, anyway, so we don't want to be taken advantage of, we don't want to feel like someone's taking advantage of, and, here's the thing too, like, sometimes we might feel like we're a little too prideful to say, hey, this is happening to me, or, hey, I need help, or, hey, do you mind looking at this? Miss Felisa, y'all know her, she will, if she can't help you, she will find someone that will help you, okay? Like I said, I'm here, call the police department, call the sheriff's office, somebody will help you navigate through that, whatever it may be, because at the end of the day, we don't want anything but the best for you ladies, and to make sure that you're safe, make sure that no one's taking advantage of you, and that's, yes ma'am. Ms. Harriet said you have to be proactive, so like we talked about, putting some of those things in those, like your credit monitoring, get one of those to make sure if there's some kind of alert that you get notified immediately. So, and also you have each other. Like, hey, if Miss Jeanette says, hey Sally, can you look at this? What do you think this is? I'll tell you something else too. If somebody calls Miss Nina, she'll be like, girl, no, I'm gonna need you to go to the bank. You need to call somebody because they're trying to get you. They are trying to get you, okay? So, there you go, that's the best, hold on a second. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Well, and he told her that, like, hey, his daughter was in law school, she needed money for an exam. It was just one thing after another, and she was like, I'm helping her, like, she's trying to better herself and go to school and all these things, and, there again, he started small, getting her information, talking to her, lowering her, making her feel appreciated, things like that. So, did you have a question, Sam?